today's lesson is very important. It's one of the most common English lessons. Today, we will learn how to use obligation and advice and things like that. As you see here, we have these verbs must, should, have to, and has to. These verbs are called modal verbs. We use must and have to express or show obligation. They exactly have the same function or the same meaning. However, there is a slight difference between them. I will talk about that in part 2. In part 1, I'm gonna talk about must and should. We will learn how to use them properly and how to avoid the most common mistakes that a lot of students sometimes make when using these modal verbs. You realize that we use these modal verbs all the time, and sometimes you're a little bit confusing. So let's learn how we can use must and should. First, let's start with the modal verb must. We will talk about the affirmative form. We have to use must plus the infinitive form or the past form of the verb. Let's read the first sentence together. You must go out. Must here means that it's an obligation. You have to do something. When I say to you that you must do that, that means it's an obligation. It's very necessary and important for you to do that. You have no choice. Okay? So, you must go out. Must is followed by the past form. Don't forget that. Next, sentence number 2. Let's read sentence number 2 together. You must work harder. It's an obligation. You must or something personally for you. So it's an obligation for you to do that, or it's something important to you personally. You must work harder. Here must also is followed by the past form of the verb work. You must eat healthy. It's an obligation. You must eat. You have no choice. Okay? So let's move to the next one. In this part, we are going to talk about the negative form. If you want to turn must to the negative statements, we have to use must, not, or we can shorten it and say mustn't. Also, mustn't here is followed by the past form of the verb. Let's read the first sentence together. He mustn't eat a lot of sweets. It's something forbidden. He's not allowed to eat a lot of sweets. It's forbidden for him to do that. You mustn't smoke in the hospital. When I say to you, you mustn't smoke, that means it's forbidden. You're not allowed to do that. Also, mustn't here is followed by the infinitive form or the past form of the verb. She mustn't eat too much sweets. Or when I'm saying to you that you mustn't eat too much sweet, that means you're not allowed to do that. Alright? Now, let's see that we use must, mustn't for a number of purposes. The first rule to talk about present future obligation, where the speakers express their opinion. You must work harder if you want to pass the exam. So in this sentence, I mean if you want to express or if you want to pass the exam, you must work harder. So it's an obligation. It's very important personally for you to do that. Something important to you personally. Okay? You need to do it. You must work harder. Alright? Step number 2. To recommend something to someone. If you want to recommend something to someone else, you have to use must plus the past form. You must go to the concert. The musicians are excellent. That's like a recommendation. If I wanted to recommend something to someone, I have to use must plus the infinitive. Step number 3. To state an obligation not to do something. You mustn't walk on the grass. It's an obligation not to do something. I told you that it's forbidden to walk on the grass. Okay? You're not allowed to walk on the grass. Now, let's talk about the next modal verb, should. We use should when I want to give you advice or just my opinion. It's not obligation, okay? So when we use the modal verb should, it's not an obligation. I think it's better for you to do that. It's my opinion, you need to do it. Let's read the first sentence together. We or you should visit your relatives. It's my opinion, or I'm just giving you my advice that it's better for you to visit your relatives. It's not an obligation. So here, as you notice, should must be followed by the past form of the verb. Don't forget, keep in mind that. They should play well. It's not an obligation. It's my advice or just even my opinion. He should wait to see the doctor. It's also my advice. He should wait. Okay? So the next one, we shouldn't watch too much television. We shouldn't. We use shouldn't to give a negative advice. If I want to give you negative advice, we shouldn't watch too much TV, or even you shouldn't watch too much TV. That means it's my opinion not to do that, okay? Or it's my advice, it's even my advice to you not to do that. It's not better for you to do that, okay? So let's move to the next one. You shouldn't play near the factory. When I'm saying that there's something is dangerous for you, so you shouldn't play. It's my opinion for you not to play in this or near the factory or in that area. Alright? So let's have more examples together. You shouldn't watch too much television. Should it here followed by the past form. You shouldn't play near the factory. As I mentioned earlier, it's dangerous, something dangerous, so you shouldn't. It's my opinion. We use should and shouldn't for different purposes. Number 1, to give advice and make suggestions. So let's read this example together. When I say that you should leave your phone number before you leave, it's my opinion. It's just my advice for you to leave or to leave your mobile phone before you leave. It's my opinion. It's not an obligation. Step number 2, to talk about personal or internal obligations that we think are right or important. Let's read this example together. I really should visit my grandmother. It's this evening, okay? It's my opinion. I think it's better for me to visit her. It's not an obligation. You shouldn't wait to see the dentist so long time. It's your opinion, okay? It's your opinion whether you want to see the doctor or not, or see the dentist or not. It's your opinion. I'm just giving you my advice to you. You don't need to do that. You shouldn't wait to see the doctor. It's my advice to you. Now it's time to do some practice together. Let's read the first question. Choose the correct answer. Sentence number 1. You must space hard. Work, works, worked, working. Who can tell me the correct answer? Take your time. The correct answer should be, yay, very good. The correct answer should be work, because after must or after the modal verb we have to use the past form of the verb. Sentence number 2. We space do sports every day. It's useful. When I'm saying that something is useful, so we have to use shouldn't, mustn't, should, has to. It's useful. Okay, take your time. When I'm saying that something is useful, it's my opinion. We should. Very good. Sentence number 3. They space smoke in the hospitals. It's forbidden. When I'm saying that something is forbidden, you're not allowed to do that. We have to say must, have to, shouldn't, mustn't. Who can tell me the correct answer? Yeah, very good. The correct answer, mustn't. Finally, don't forget, the more you practice, the better you're going to get it. So, if you enjoyed our lesson today, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get many different English lessons. Thank you for watching. See you next time.